Been seeing this pop up everywhere, like literally I'm pretty sure my grandma used it in a video, and so I figured I'd explain how it's done. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Ryan Reacts. In this episode I'm gonna break down three cinematic masterpieces in an attempt to understand how they were made. I'm Ryan from Ryan Reacts. I started the show in an attempt to keep me learning and progressing in my content creation. And in doing so, I figured it would be cool to share this with you guys. Okay, today I'm somewhat short on time, so I decided to get three, let's say, simpler edits, but that contain trends that I'm constantly seeing everywhere, in a hope to break them down so that you guys can hopefully apply it to your content. Video 1! Cool things to break down, especially right here at the beginning. I've been seeing this pop up everywhere, like literally I'm pretty sure my grandma used it in a video, and so I figured I'd explain how it's done. In case this is the first time you watched it, you don't know this yet, but I'm a fan of the clone effect, so much so that I've covered it in at least my last 2 videos, probably a couple more. Now, if you want an extensive tutorial on how that is done, I'd recommend watching one of those. In essence, what you have is a blank background that you need to record first. Then you film yourself in this case, 5 different angles, and then you just rotoscope yourself out of each of those shots and put yourself onto the black background. And then you have this. Now, the important thing in this one that I didn't cover in the last 2 episodes is this, the flashes. Now, this flashing effect is something I've been seeing pop up everywhere. So I figured, let me explain how it's done. So once you've rotoscoped yourself out, right, what you want to do is you want to go and look for the contrast and exposure effect. Then you want to put it onto your rotoscope layer that you have, and you want to put the exposure to a maximum with a keyframe of slowly decreasing that contrast, bringing it eventually back to 0. Now, you could do it in different ways. Some people have faster keyframes in which it's more of a flash effect, and some people let it fade in, so you create this weird like alpha looking channel that fades in. But in essence, both times it's going to create the same effect. There's also a few ways whereby you could play with the blend mode and do it by selecting only show alpha layer. Try, figure out what works best for you, and then apply it to your videos. Then we have a dope little zoom in. The use of music again to like drag you through this video is done very, very, very cleverly. I also love this macro shot, so using a macro lens to capture details of an outfit, really bring the focus and sharpness to those shots, so having the sunglasses. And then each of these shots is just cropped into a square box, which you place very nicely throughout the entire video. So the final aspect there is still a bit of what you call motion tracking on the face, keeping the face dead center so it doesn't move from that, right? Sometimes you have zooms and it goes like slightly above. By setting guides, which you can do in Premiere Pro, you can position your face or the point that you want to keep in the dead center, and then all you have to do is readjust using the positioning. Now in this case there wasn't a lot of movement, so it was probably not necessary. That is video 1. We are blasting through this. Okay, on to video 2. As said, guys, it's simple. It's simple, but that is why it's important to know, because a lot of the time the simpler things is what actually makes the hits, right? If you think about any song, the melody in any song that has become a viral hit is super, super simple to recognize. And I believe that a lot of those lessons that we can take from music that has become viral hits, we can apply over to content as well. A lot of the time people edit because they can, not because they should. And so sometimes keeping things simpler, and in this case what this creator has done is a lot of crazy, very beautiful shots relating to Vienna specifically, and just having a super different hook, I suppose, which captures your attention. In essence, what he's done is taken a screenshot of his own Instagram feed, and then probably in this segment here, he's put the video which we see behind it. Now, in order to get a crop effect, basically you duplicate both layers. So there's one screenshot, but there's 2 layers of them. And then all you do is this layer, you set a crop from this line that automates up this way. And on this layer, you set a crop here that automates downwards. And then if you've given yourself enough room to play with in terms of when filming the shot, either vertically or if you only film horizontal, make sure to stand at a distance, film in 4K, render in 1080 in order to be able that when you do this and it appears, your footage looks crystal clear and not shit. Difference between filming in 4K and rendering in 1080 is something that some people forget, and then they stretch 4K footage out in 4K format, and as a result it ends up looking crap. Then these collection of clips that we see appear here are just layered underneath those 2 Instagram layers, and as they crop down, with a slight keyframe on the crop, so it doesn't just crop down consistent pace, but it like starts slow and then here gets really fast. That is done through means of a keyframe. So the last bit of this video there, it's not complex, it's just very well done. This is what I meant at the start with, you know, keep your shots simple sometimes, your videos simple, but think of a hook that captures attention. Now, I didn't check out this guy, but I'm assuming, judging by this, he's some sort of travel influencer showing a beautiful side to Vienna. And sometimes, if that is the niche you're trying to talk to, that is specifically the content that is gonna do well. And so ask yourself in the upcoming content, is there a way whereby I can make this simpler? The last one already, this one is a little bit more complex and a little bit more to break down. Here we fucking go. If you're anything like me, you're probably thinking to yourself, what the fuck did I just watch? Especially with a hook like that. That's exactly why it works. So this guy used phenomenal use of a hook. You're eagerly awaiting to see what happens. And from that moment, you're hooked in, especially when he then manages to transition in such a fantastic way. Okay, so what he's done here, and this is the nice thing about being able to slow it down in frame, is he's made a duplicate of the cup, scaled it up and rotated it, and at this point match cuts it with the original cup and lines it up so cleverly that you're now into the new scene, and using the aspect from before in the new one is a fantastic way. Match cuts, I mean, I think we all know, besides the clone effect, I might have been talking about the match cut on this channel far too much. Then using clever positioning of the hand. Remember that your eye is currently at this is here, right? This is where he has got your attention, and what he does very cleverly, I don't know if it's on purpose, but in the next shot your attention is still there. Using the hand creates some sort of continuous storyline as the best that is possible here. And these kind of subtle things are fantastic to think about in terms of where your eye is going in order to help motion through a video. So this is also genius. I think this is just smart cropping, to be honest. I think these are obviously the same building, taken at the same height, taken at the same angle, and the only difference is one is shot in morning and one is shot at night, and then there's just a very hard crop on the 2 shots, but obviously lined up perfectly, you know, plays with the crop. So here, one frame there, here, and then if we go to the next frame, obviously the crop is whole to allow kind of the sun to come in, if you want to call it like that. And then we've got full, this is actually shot later, as we can tell the lighting has changed, so it's again at a different time of day. And then we go into a new frame, but building off of the like rectangular shapes that we have going on here, building in this new rectangular effects thing to focus on doesn't feel off. I think if you would have used circular light, you would have been a little thrown off because of all of the squares going on in the background. And so it's these little details that make me obsessed with content. Also, this is so genius. How can you not love that? It's like switching on the light and then in the background having the lights fade out, like subtle storytelling techniques. Woo! Simple effect, but fantastically done. Just all of these are desaturated, obviously. Put the saturation to 0 and then per frame bring the saturation back in. This one is actually a slight flicker. So in this frame, you'll see there he's removed the image for a frame and then brought it back in with color. And the slight flicker that adds to it makes it so... Woo! Oh, fucking hell, there's too much there for me to even break down what the fuck is going on. That is my favorite. That's genuinely my favorite. And it's simple, guys. It's just clever match cutting. And it could be that he's changed the look of this match cut with AI. So like prompted AI to give him different types of moons and then just lined them up perfectly. It could be that he's genuinely spent the time and gone and found different shots that just look amazing. I don't know. But either way, if this is the type of result you're trying to get, then that's how you get it done. Either find different moons from different angles and different shades and colors at different times of the day, or play with it with AI and line them up that way. Now this is my guess. If I were to recreate this shot, I would do it as follows. We have a wall with a turquoise RGB light, right? So let's say this wall, as you can see currently, it already has a slight blue shade, obviously because of my light. So what he's probably done is just has an RGB light that makes the entire wall turquoise. Then he has an additional spotlight, which also is a color, pink, on that said wall. Then we have the two buildings here that are probably images of buildings, which he has then cleverly animated to move to the side. So they obviously start like this together, and then we keyframe them to open up like this, allowing space for that light to come through. And then cleverly cropping out through means of either opacity or just a crop the segments here to allow the light to come through so that it feels as if it's coming through the building, highlighting the moon aspect that we spoke about before. Just leaning back into the eye aspect here, finding different ways to visualize that. I'm not sure there's any like crazy storytelling techniques to be explained in this one, just a lot of sick visual effect, a source of inspiration that I hope this channel is. Every week again, I find these little nuggets and I try to in some way apply them to my own content. And that leads me to the following. If you would like to see me break down more of some of the content that I have edited for creators, let me know in the comments and I'll start looking into formats in which I do that as well. If you have enjoyed yourself, if you've caught yourself thinking, wow, I don't completely feel like my brain is rotting away, it would mean a lot to me if you would smash that subscribe button. And I'll see you in the next one.